It's so stinking pretty. Well, what's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Kitchen Table TCG. My name is Louie. I hope you're having yourself a fantastic day. As you know, on this channel, I absolutely love talking about all sorts of TCGs. Today, I want to talk about Sorcery a little bit more and dive into some more details of why I think this is going to be one of the most successful games. I think it's going to be the most successful Kickstarter TCG ever, but I think it's going to be one of the most successful games over a longer period of time as well. I want to get a couple of disclosures out of the way just because I think it's important. Number one, I have backed Sorcery for more than any other TCG that I've backed so far. I have put a lot of money towards Sorcery. I have a financial interest in the success of Sorcery because I think it's an amazing game. So I just wanted to disclose that. I have put a lot of money, or I've pledged a lot of money into Sorcery. And then number two, I have not received any money from Sorcery, nor will I ever receive any money from any TCG as a result of content on my channel. I would never do that. I do not want to do that. I am not interested in doing that. I did, however, receive some product. Obviously, I got some of the test decks that you have seen on the channel to make some content as a content creator that a lot of games do. They send out content and that's really important, really awesome. So just wanted to identify that. And then finally, this is not financial advice, and I'm gonna be very bullish on this game. So I want to up here, this is not financial advice. So number one, $2.4 million with 9 days left. There is a lot of money being thrown at Sorcery. And initially this video idea came from a thought point that I had, which is like, okay, first off, I am not backing Sorcery because of financial desire to gain. I love the game and I want to play it. I'm gonna play it. But like as a channel, we talk a lot about finance on the channel, and a lot of people ask me, Louis, is it worth it to back Sorcery from an investment standpoint? And so I had this question rolling around my mind of like, man, $2.4 million, more days left, a lot of backers. Is there room for this product to grow? Is there room for an investment side of this product to move forward? Or did everybody who's interested back the product, and then who's there to buy for a higher price? And that's where a lot of this attitude came from on this video. A lot of the thought process stemmed from that dynamic, those conversations. And here's what I came up with. This is my answer to that. These are my hot takes on Sorcery. A large amount of people buying into Sorcery's Kickstarter are for a gameplay experience that is casual. That is one of the biggest selling points of Sorcery. One of the things that Eric has talked about, he talked about in the interview that I did with him, that this game is meant to be casual. And I personally believe that I don't even know if this is a belief, it's a very evident statement that the casual TCG market is much bigger than the competitive TCG market. If you take I'd much rather make a game that is competing with Commander, that is pursuing the same player base as something like Commander, than is pursuing a high level competitive play, because there are much more people who have the time and ability to play a casual game than those who have the ability to practice every day and get really good at the high competitive game side. So I really think that people who are buying in for a gameplay experience are buying in for a casual experience. I, for one, think like this is a game that I'm going to try to play with my wife, which is something I've never said on this channel. I've never been like, hey, I'm going to try to get my wife to play a TCG, because she hasn't played a TCG. The only time she ever played a TCG was during the pandemic. We played a little bit of Commander, and then we played a little bit of Metazoo, but it's just not something that she really enjoys doing. So for me to say, like, one of my goals of backing Sorcery is to have a hobby with my wife is a big statement. But I think the casual nature of this game sets it up for a much wider player base, a much wider adaptation of a game. And then on top of that, you got a lot of people, I think, coming from the board game world, where it is this, module grid-based system that plays really a lot like a board game. And then on top of that, the Kickstarter background of board games, I think there's a lot of people who are going to look at this as a casual board game-esque game. And so I think that's really important. Number two, though, is that this game is absolutely beautiful. I picked out some of my favorite cards. Just look at this Grim Reaper. Like, just look at the cards. It's absolutely gorgeous. Like, the cards are beautiful. And as a result, you're going to see a lot of people set collecting. And there are 400 cards plus cards in this set. There is a lot of cards to set collect. I'm gonna make a statement. I think that Sorcery will be the most set collected product of 2022. Of any TCG on the market, Sorcery is going to be the most set collected product. Nobody set collect. Somebody probably does. Someone's gonna leave a comment. Louis, I set collect in Magic the Gathering. Nobody set collects in Magic the Gathering anymore. I think this is going to be a set that a lot of people, it's the first print run, right? It's the alpha of the game. So a lot of people like to set collect the alpha versions of games, especially beautiful artwork. Like, there's a lot going for this game in terms of set collecting, which is a really important thing, because I think it's going to be really difficult to collect a full setup because there's 400 cards. You're going to have to open up that case that you pre-ordered. You're going to have to open up a lot of product, and as a result, there's going to be a big flow of sealed product being opened and all that kind of thing. And I think another side of this is that people won't be trading or selling into as many of the foils. It's going to be really, really hard to kind of finalize your foil collection. It's going to be really hard to get people to let go of those foils if they are rare. So I think this is going to be one of those things that's a really, really hard game to fully collect. I think that's an important aspect, especially if you are if you are a collector. Again, I have no financial tie to this. Actually, it hurts me to say this. If you are a collector, I think you really need to consider upping your pledge in terms of the amount of boxes that you are going to pre-order, because it's just going to be a lot to open. 400 cards is a lot of cards in a set. And so that's one thing. But then another thing is, if a lot of people are set collecting, it's going to require a lot of those cards to stay in people's hands. Particularly foils are going to be, I think, pretty hard to come by. So it's a big thing. I think a lot of people are going to want to collect it because of the artwork. And here's the last thing. They have done an incredible job, apparently. We don't know all the details. We don't know exact pull rates. We don't know a lot of the things. But it is apparent that they have been intentionally creating some of these really rare pull things, the curio cards, I think they're calling them, where there's some really high chase rates of cards that aren't required for play. It's one of those things that just builds the excitement, builds the value in opening a box, gives you a reason to want to open that box and make that money rather than just selling a sealed product. It's a really great thing in TCGs. These curio cards, these chase cards, these really rare cards, in my opinion, are going to have a significant amount of value, which is going to cause, again, a lot of people to open the cards, a lot of people to want to be involved in the product. I think you're going to see some box openings on channels and on whatnots and on all those things. So it's one of those things with all those elements. I have to say that if you have any interest in this game, and this was another conversation I was having with somebody that were like, I think I'm not sure that I am going to back Sorcery. Like, man, like, if you have any interest in this game at all, if you are even a little bit curious of would I like this game, man, I think that you've just got to back it. This is one of those ones where the risk reward ratio just isn't there, because the worst case scenario financially is that this all doesn't, you lose out on your pledge or whatever, and that you have an amazing collection of cards that you can play a game, that you can try out a new game. There's just not much downside here, in my opinion. I think the cards are absolutely beautiful. The creator has a very, very robust background of creating amazing things, creating a video game. He's not like some person that you've never heard of. There is a lot of positives to Sorcery, and really, in my opinion, very little downside risk. There's, in my opinion, no risk that the product doesn't get made. I think this product will 100% be made. The only risk maybe is that it gets delayed. I think there's probably a good chance that a product this size, the timing doesn't necessarily work out exactly how they want it to. There's always going to be those things. That's a very, very common thing on Kickstarter campaigns for their, the fulfillment to be delayed. But there's the downside risk, in my opinion, if you're interested at all in playing the game, interested at all in collecting the game, and interested at all in just seeing the artwork and holding the cards in hand and exploring opening packs. In my opinion, the downside risk just isn't there. If you have any interest at all, I think you need to get in there the next 9 days and make sure that you back Sorcery Contested Realms. That is my opinion. I know I'm like fanboying a little bit, but the game is just really, really solid. It was a lot of fun to play. We've been trying to play around with it a little bit more, working on a how to play video. There's a lot of good things going for Sorcery. Hope you guys have yourself a good day. Let me know what you think in the comment section below about Sorcery. Maybe share what your favorite card is. Get the conversation going and flowing. Hope you have yourself a fantastic day. Remember, be kind to the people around you. We'll see you again next video.